What's up, guys? Today is a special day. I've officially owned the Firebird for 2 days now, and I'm about to provide some context to this video. So essentially, I was exploring a junkyard with my buddies. It seemed to be a junkyard, and we were just looking around, and I stumbled across an older Firebird that looked pretty clean, and I've wanted one for years. This footage is from probably like 2 years ago, at least, like 2023. But we just walked around it and looked at it, and I'm like, dang, this thing's really clean for being in a junkyard, right? So anyway, I pop the hood, I see that it's a V6, and I kind of just forget about the car for a while, right? And then before I know it, I'm in the area again, and I stop to take some pictures of it. And I talk to the guy that owns it, clean title actually, and the car's in really good shape. When I looked at the odometer, it actually only had 90,000 original miles on it. And I ended up, long story short, making an offer on the car for I offered like low ball, and he came back countered. Originally it was supposed to be like 2,200 running and driving, but he couldn't get it running. He did a fuel pump and it would still only run off brake cleaner. But anyway, I said, all right, man. I threw out my price and I said, I'll give you an extra $100 if you deliver it. And sure enough, about a week after that, he dropped it off at at a shop, and that brings us to about 2 days ago when the car got here and I was able to unload it. Yeah, man. 1990 Pontiac Firebird, 90,000 miles, V6. Latest project added to my collection. Now it is time for my favorite part of the car, the mileage. This thing only has 91,000 miles on it, and it is a 1990. That is very low mileage for one of these cars. Now, obviously it's not perfect. The headliner is coming down. Rear view mirror fell off. Dash pad is actually in really good shape. Just one small little crack right there across it, which, if you guys know anything about 3rd and 4th gen cars, it is very, very common for the dashes to crack. This thing's got a little bit of rust in some spots, but it's an interesting trim too. It's got the manual mirrors on it, but power windows and locks. Battery, I'm pretty sure, is cooked, so I'm about to test that in a second. Now, how much did I pay for the car, and how much do I think it's going to take to get it running? Well, I paid $2,200 for the car, which for 3rd gen prices nowadays, it's not that bad. It's not that bad at all. What are we having here? We got some information on here about like the RPO codes and all that. We'll go over that probably in a later time. Oh, we got a cassette. Okay, now that, if that isn't straight from the 90s, this thing was probably built in 89, honestly. But if that's not straight from the 90s, I don't know what it is. We build excitement. Firebird cassette. Now they replaced the radio, so I don't know if this was a cassette car or not, but definitely wasn't a CD player. But yeah, I paid $2,200 for the car. which isn't that bad. It doesn't run, which kind of sucks. It runs off brake cleaner, so it kind of runs actually. But basically the computer, you can see the computer's not plugged in. God, it is dusty in here. Frick, hey, dude, damn. The map compartment's still here. Got some clips. Hopefully I don't get stabbed by a hypodermic needle or something in here. Screws. But yeah, so the guy that I bought it off of said he thinks it's the computer because the injectors are not getting enough power to run the car, which would kind of make some sense as to why it doesn't run. But anyway, let's pop the hood. It is a 4-speed automatic, probably a 700 R4. This would have been a super early 4L60 if that's what it had in it. But yeah, it's low mileage, it's cheap 90s GM. But it has fog lights too, which is pretty cool. Anyway, let's get the hood popped. Let's get under here. We're gonna check the battery on it. See if the battery is bad, which I'm putting money on it that it's cooked. But yeah, it's got some nice wheels on it too. I think these are I thought these were Formula wheels. But I mean, I'm not complaining. See the front end of it. Looks good. It's not that bad. Definitely needs a paint job, but it's not terrible. Just gotta get some persuasion to open her up. Okay. Put this thing down. Put the tripod up and out. And let's get this hood prop set. There we go. So you can see we got a 3.1 liter V6 powering this freaking race car. Battery looks, it's not happy. I think this thing's gonna test really bad. It's only 6 years old. It's not, I mean, it's kind of old, but it's not that old. Looks like we are out of washer fluid. Wow, I need a refund. Alright. So, yep, this is the engine bay on her. You can see this is disconnected from presumably where the guy was spraying in the brake cleaner to try to get it running, but she is complete. She is complete. So AC's all there. I doubt that works. I say we start out by checking the engine oil. Let's see if she has engine oil in her, and if she does not, then that's going to be a whole nother thing, but I'm sure it does. Then we'll try to find a fuel rail on it, see if it's got pressure to the fuel rail, test the battery, see if the battery's bad on it. We'll go from there. So let me just set you guys up right here. Okay. That is not looking great. That is very, very dark. Hasn't been changed in a couple years. But it does have motor oil in it, and I've ran vehicles off way worse than this. Okay, well, we got oil. Now let me try to locate the fuel rail on this thing and see if we have any fuel to the rail. He said he did a fuel pump in it and it still wouldn't run. So it could be a clogged fuel filter. I checked it earlier and the security light wasn't on. Normally on these cars what happens is the they have chips in the keys, and they have something known as VATS, vehicle anti-theft system, and normally if the chip's wrong, then it won't provide power or continuity to the injectors, and the injectors won't fire and the car won't run. So I was hoping I still am hoping that it's somehow that, because I could get a $5 pack of freaking resistors off Amazon, chip the key, or sorry, I could ohm out the key, see what the chip's rated at, get the right impedance resistor, and then it would run. But something tells me it probably isn't going to be that easy, because I never get that lucky. But anyway, without further ado, in here. Alright, we've got the fuel rail back here. So let's crack her open and see if we have any fuel. Well, that cap just went somewhere under the intake. Not my problem anymore. Okay. We'll be using, of course, the right tool to test for fuel pressure. No, not a fuel pressure tester. Just see if we have fuel up to it first. Let me back up in case I get sprayed. Dang, this thing is too small. Okay. Well, it has fuel to the fuel rail. The gas, it doesn't smell horrible. It seemed pretty clean. So we've got fuel to the fuel rail. Alright guys, so that brings us to this point in the video. If you did watch till the end, I really appreciate it. I did put an actual fuel pressure tester on it, and it was getting 40 psi and staying there when I cranked it. So I know it's got gas, good fuel, oil, obviously that is air. It has spark too, because I sprayed some brake cleaner in it and it ran off the brake cleaner, but not off its own gas. So that tells me that the injectors, for whatever reason, are either clogged or not firing. So I ended up purchasing a lot of parts off of Rock Auto for this thing, because I tested it and the injectors themselves had 12 ohms of resistance, which is a little bit low. They're supposed to be at like 14, but it's close enough to where it would run. And I put a Noid light on it, and the guy I bought it off put a Noid light on it, said it was getting lower than what it's supposed to out of it, very little power. So on these cars, just like the small block 305s and 350s that they came with, on the distributor, the ignition coil, the ignition control module, the ICM, also sends out a signal to the injectors for them to fire. So I bought an ICM, injectors, intake manifold gasket, because you got to pull the intake off on this to do the injectors. Annoying design. New fuel filter just in case, and some other small stuff like plugs, wires, cap rotor. And in the next video, you guys are going to see that the battery was toast on this, so I had to rob the lid off of the red Camaro in the background. But yeah, guys, stay tuned, and hopefully in the next video we'll have this thing running off its own gas and driving. Here it might be flooded.